Supervisors to order. All please rise. Pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, public comment on the agenda only. Actions from the Planning Commission, starting with Dow Road Warehouse.
It's an extension letter. Let me go through my agenda. December 31st.
So there's an extension letter from Dow Road Warehouse
Yep.
until December 31st. Motion to approve. I'll second. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those if we both say aye, there's no one opposed. Next we have the Crossroads Xllc subdivision.
That's a final plan.
Okay, this is a final plan. And that would be conditioned upon?
Conditions were requirement for all signatures and seals and notarization. It was noted that there are no improvements proposed, so they don't have to have financial security. They don't have to have a development improvement agreement. And they do not have to have a stormwater maintenance agreement, nor are there any rec fees or traffic impact fees. It's a minor final subdivision, only creating a raw 2-acre lot.
And so here's part of what Jeff just said, the DEP. So this is the subdivision, which is what we're talking about. They need this sent to DEP if it's not been yet. So you need to make a motion in order to do that, to then approve your plan if that's what you're going to do.
Okay, so we have to do this first.
It's the DEP planning on it.
Okay, so Robbie makes a motion that this is signed.
To have you sign it, correct?
Okay, the motion is made. I'll second it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried on that. And then we have the conditional final approval on the breaking off of the 2 acres. Condition on Jeff's letter. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second that motion. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Next, we have the Ralph Moyer subdivision, which is a waiver 4.02.3 to not show the existing contours, 4.02.C.2 not show the wetland delineation, and 5.11.B to not require additional right-of-way or widening of deck drive or Fryestown Road. Would you like to explain why the waivers
Sure.
requested? Probably be simple to just have you explain it.
Sure. The parent tract from which a 1.5 acre lot's being created is 15 acres in size. So there was no real need, any compelling interest to show the survey of the balance of 13.5 acres that aren't being disturbed. The creek and the wetlands associated with the creek are far away from where the new house is going to be proposed. So it would have been an unnecessary expense for the property owner to perform that extra survey work. Additionally, this property is a corner lot. It has almost 2,000 feet of road frontage. The new lot that was being created only has 200 feet of road frontage. Planning Commission and I believe that it would be an unnecessary expense to require them to dedicate 1,800 feet of all that right-of-way and widen the road when there's no improvements or anything being done.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve
approve the Ralph Moyer subdivision plan.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. Yes.
Can we do the waivers first?
Oh, yes, we can. Can we do them as a group?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll start by making a motion to approve the waivers.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried.
Hold your thought. This is another one that we need signatures for the DEP.
Same thing as the other.
Yeah.
So do we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Now, we get to the approval.
There's conditions on this one too, Jay.
The conditions according to your letter
Yes, sir.
of October 12th. Okay, I'll make the motion to conditionally approve according to the conditions set out by Jeff in the letter that he put out on October 12, 2021.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay, I think that's all from the Planning Commission.
We did get, let me just back up one, and I left it over in the office, but we did get the plans that for Crossroads that you could sign tonight. I know that I keep them, you can wait until the conditions met, but DEP may or may not send us a letter. You know, Jeff, sometimes they send us a letter on these things and sometimes they don't.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, what I would do is if we don't get something from them within like a week or two, I'd call them and then they say you're not getting something. Or, yeah, we haven't gotten a letter out. I would not release it to them until we confirm that so you could certainly sign them tonight, and then I could also call the planning commission and get them in to sign in the interim. But I'd left them over there, so I would go get them after the meeting, if we sign. Okay? Sure.
Conditionally approved.
You want the conditions?
Yeah, I think we should lay them out as
All
well.
right. The conditions are required signatures and seals and notarization. This project does require a development improvement agreement that has to be executed before the plan will be recorded. Requires a stormwater maintenance agreement. Requires financial security in an amount of approximately $20,600. The exact amounts spelled out in my letter. And requires the execution of the planning module, which you just signed, and return approval by DEP, which Jane just explained. Those would be the conditions.
I would make a motion to approve pending fulfillment of the conditions as spelled out by Jeff just now.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay. Next we have the hearing of the visitors. Steve Burkhart with respect to the library.
Yeah, I think as far as that project goes, it's really back in your court. As of 2 months ago, we had quotes just to replace the furnace, and that was my suggestion, to get that done here before the weather gets cold. And I believe you wanted to get more quotes, solicit more bids, which that's fine, no problem. So I don't know where that stands right now. If you did get more bids.
Yeah, we did do that. We approved the low bid last month, and the furnaces I saw were being installed today.
Great. Okay, so that's taken care of. And then as far as the project for the extension, I believe we're waiting on action from the supervisors to approve. There again, I believe you wanted to get more quotes for the drawings, to have an engineer that was capable of, with the stamps, to submit drawings so we could go out for bids to contractors for a prevailing wage project. So there again, I'm not sure if anyone got awarded the drawings, to do the drawings. The last I had remembered, we had a guy for around $17,000 to do that, the drawings for that proposed addition, which was the width of the building by 28 feet, something along those lines. So there again, I'm not sure where that stands with action for you guys.
I have not seen an RFP, I did not advertise for anybody, I didn't know if it, I don't know how that's being done. Nothing's come from my side of the world.
I think the last month's meeting, there was a concern by some library patrons and board members that there should be kind of a clerk of the works to get some input about what the project's going to all entail and kind of define that, and then with that information, prepare an RFP. I think the first thing that was supposed to happen was, as you said, the furnace, and then an issue came up with respect to the roof as well, and the engineer suggested you go and use a CoStar's contractor, which gets rid of a lot of that, hoopla with the bidding. And then a clerk of the works was talked about, somebody that could oversee it, and I don't think any action's been taken on that, Steve.
We did get an email from the engineer with some suggestions as, per CoStar for the roofing repair, so I do have that. Which you can, look at. But I guess what's the next step? Either we have to decide if we're going to...
Well, I think you had a committee with the library board, correct, that was kind of had ideas and thoughts about this?
We have ideas, it's not a formal committee.
Well, I think that I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I think if you could put those in writing so that they could be reviewed by the supervisors and then discussed in detail at next month's meeting, and then maybe that would frame the scope of work a little bit, and then we could figure out or the supervisors and the library board can figure out how you want to go forward, whether you're just going to use a design build firm or whether you want to have somebody who's independent of the design build firm kind of oversee the project, but those are different options you have. If you have anything else, Jeff, I refer to you. No, I don't have anything else to add.
That sounds fair.
No, I'm fine with that. We need to have a scope of the project first. So can we have that by the next month?
Yes,
Yeah,
at least from the board.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys stay in the loop on this one.
That's fine. I would just suggest when we get competitive bids, whoever gets the awarded contract typically has a supervisor, over the whole project, that would come out and walk you through it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's necessary to have an independent person overseeing the project. I believe that may be an expense that's unnecessary. As long as we go with a qualified and a reputable contractor, you'll get that
Should have
supervisor.
a think around, All right, well, sounds like we have our next step. If we can take care of that, then we should be okay. Keep moving forward on that. Thank you, Steve.
All right. Okay, so then the CoStars is taken care of.
Yeah,
Or
we
you
have
want to
that.
discuss that further?
I think my email explained it. I provided, CoStars has a list of about 17 roofing suppliers and/or contractors that service Berks County. I printed out 8 of them that appear to be the contractors who would actually do the work. Their contact information and phone numbers are there. I provided in my email my recommendations that you should get at least 3 of them to quote the job. Make sure that they know that you want them to quote per their CoStar's contract, and the proposal should reference it. And when they give an invoice for the work, if you select any of them, it should also definitely identify their CoStar's contract number and their CoStar's registration number. That way you don't have to do bidding and advertising expenses. To my knowledge, they don't have to pay prevailing wage rates if their pricing matches what they registered with CoStar's.
So our next step would be to advertise?
No advertising needed. Anybody could contact any of the ones that I have attached. And if you want me to do so, I'll be happy to.
Well, I'll make a motion that we ask Jeff.
Hang on a second.
Follow. Yes.
We have used co-stars in the past for different items, aggregates and whatever. What we used to do is, since there's 8 identified, we would send it out to all 8. Because there's gonna be some that aren't gonna wanna do it for time constraints or whatever. And that way, if you only send it to 3 or 4, and you only get 2, you're still stuck. So if you send it out to all, they then have the chance. If you have what it is you want them to do very well defined, it can go out even from the township office saying, this is what we want to do, have it come back to us, you guys would be on it right away. I don't mind if Jeff does it, but we have done this in the past, and it has worked very well. So
Do you have specific criteria set up already or not yet?
Well, I hadn't looked at the library. The group spoke about the need for roofing repairs. I thought maybe one of them would have better detail. But Jane's advice about using her to do it is good because, I mean, my billing rate's at $140, so, you know, you don't have to pay her other than her normal salary.
So can you get a consistent description?
Sure.
That we can send to all of them?
Is the person here who talked about the roof needing repairs? Do you know what it was? But I'll go look at it.
Okay.
Next time I'm up this way, I won't make a special trip.
Okay. So then Jane will send it out once she gets them.
Okay. I'll get the specs together.
All right, next we have Randy Bainey.
Yeah,
There he is. Go ahead, Randy.
I'm here on behalf of the Salem Reformed Church, the end of town. The church has a parking lot on one side of the street, and part of the parking lot is on the other side of the street. And I'm here to ask if we can put a crosswalk with appropriate signage going from the one parking lot over to the other one. On it's Township Road. Sunday mornings, you have older people going across there, and not everybody follows the speed limit on that road. So whatever needs to be done.
Can we just have a railroad crew do it?
Yes.
Well,
Jeff? He's not.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that means he'll take care of it.
There's a PennDOT manual that talks about the pedestrian, the yellow, nice fluorescent yellow cones that say yield to pedestrians. PennDOT actually gives those to municipalities for free. You just have to get on the website and ask for them. We got 3 or 4 of them in our town, Salem Township, where we have a very busy highway, and there's a pizza shop they wanted them put in. The road crew can just paint those. It has to meet the state criteria, even though it's a local road. That's readily available on the PennDOT website, and I can also send it up to the road crew. I can send it to Mike.
Just send it to me,
Okay.
and then I usually see Jeff, or Ed at least once a day, one of them. You send that to me, and then I'll get it to them.
I'll send you the phone number to call for the free walk.
It's fine.
Yeah, the church members can just put them out and then take them in when
Okay,
service is
that'd be great.
over.
Okay, thank you.
okay. So we need no motion, right?
No.
Good. Okay. All right, next we have approval of the minutes from September 20th. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
And I'll second. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay, Supervisors' Comments. Robin?
Other than, I guess I'm going to just put a thank you out to Brian Blau and Jeff Brown and Ed and Robbie and Jim for picking up the slack here last month. These guys have done a really good job. I really appreciate everything they did to take over while Mike is absent. And that's about it, really. for now.
Okay. Next is me with comments. Lee Berman, I said her name correctly. Lee Beamer has been the part-time secretary assisting Jane now for, what, how many months has it been?
It's 5.
5 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's off probation, so we need to discuss if we want to increase her wages. I think she's done a pretty fine job. She's been making 15, which is custodian wages.
No, that's below custodian.
So,
Yeah, I think she's doing a really good job.
yeah, I think so too. So I think we should bump her up to, let's see, she's up, what, 15 now? So I think we should probably take her up to 18 or 19. That would be my thought.
Yeah. Well, we would have to
1850? I can look at that. Okay.
She's done it right. Yeah, I agree. She's been doing a really good job. So,
She's had a pretty steep learning curve, and I think she's met the curve. So, all right, I'll make a motion that we approve Lee Beamer to receive $18.50 an hour for part-time work as part-time secretary.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried.
Are you recommending that back to when she was off probation 2 months ago? Since it was missed on last month's agenda after we placed it on the agenda.
Can you guys speak into the mic?
Do you want to control back, Jake? I have no problem with that since that's
Yeah,
our mistake.
I think we should. Sometimes these mics sound loud, and other times they don't sound.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, by throwing it back to, because we missed that, so that's on us.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I'll get you some hours for the next day.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Okay?
Sounds good. Okay. Next we have the police department report. Chief Murphy.
Last month, we had 3,986 miles, used 336 gallons of fuel, responded to 12 domestics, we received 4 thefts, 62 traffic citations were issued, 7 non-traffic citations were issued, 14 warnings were issued, we had 3 criminal arrests, 19 phone assignments, we had 2 security checks, 6 residential/commercial alarms, we had 10 reportable accidents, 2 reckless driver complaints, 8 motorist assist, 50 total traffic stops. We had 33 fire and EMS advisories, 15 other law agency assist, 19 suspicious situations, 14 disorderly incidents, 42 miscellaneous complaints. We had 2 court appearances and 18 school zone details, 273 for September total activities.
Okay. Anything you want to add, or is that?
That's it, Jake.
All right. I'm good with that. Thank you. Next, we have the EMC report. Brian Blau.
Just the 2 things that are on the agenda. First are the tablets that were asked for last month. The contact that was given to me was incorrect. And since then, Jane has taken it, so if she'd like to speak, she may.
Yeah, as Brian stated, the contact that one of the fire personnel had was actually for Lebanon County. They're not supposed to cross over into Berks County, so they gave us the name of the contact for Berks County, and it's Jamal. And so I asked him to do the same quoting that the other gentleman had done, and he gave us a quote, and it's about $100 per unit more than what the Lebanon was getting for the same unit. And the only thing that was the same is the hotspots. We also are changing our telephone, so I asked them if they also do this, and they do. I just printed this off right before walking in here, so I haven't had time to digest it. I believe this is on a monthly basis, so I haven't calculated out anything. So on a monthly basis, and they only quoted 6, and I told them 10. I don't know what the problem was. She sent an email saying, sorry, but you get your pricing. On a monthly plan, it also wouldn't be unlimited. It would be a 1 gigabyte, I believe it says pool data only service at $19.99 a month, and the tablet would be $33 a month, and it looks like it's a year. So once we did the math on that, we could see, compare what it is. I'm not going to do that right this minute. So we have 2 quotes. Again, the other one's $479.99 per unit for the Samsung. That was priced from the other guy at $379.99. So by being burnt for $100 more, or the permission stopped, I don't know which. So
So
when is
we have provided 10.
right, and I asked for government and for the nonprofit pricing. And he didn't mark this, but he said it's usually better at government. And I said, well, we're not sure that we're going to be the ones buying and owning. And he said, well, we can work out those details. We could probably get the same pricing. But
Okay, and then the 1997 and the 33, that's the service.
we need to do the math and everything.
You have to get that right.
Yeah. When are you guys, is this already something that you guys are using and on your phones, and you need the tablets to make it larger and more legible?
We are using it under, they are using it under the active 911, which cannot handle all the data that we want to put in there, has to be put in there. Plus the screen size on everybody's phone, you know, is way too small.
So I'm looking to know what's your, I mean, I know you want this as soon as possible, but, I mean, are we at another month? Are we looking at December for a drop dead, or where are we?
They agree that we can handle it for another month or so. This fire department does, I'm sure you'll have them too.
So we should get all our numbers together.
We should have all the information and
Yeah, I
provide it.
wouldn't be comfortable saying, yeah, do this one without checking into it, because this one is also not unlimited. So I don't know how important that is to them, so.
If they're okay waiting, then I guess it's okay.
Yeah, if we can wait till November, that's what we'll do. Okay, next we have the hazard mitigation grant program.
The municipality did apply for a hazardous mitigation grant at 4 different locations in the township to try and prevent future flooding. It would be a FEMA grant. We did the preliminary request until we had done so far.
How long till you get your response on that? Do you have any idea?
Alex, Jeff, a year?
I don't think it'll be that long. I don't know them.
Okay. All right, so that's underway.
Yes.
So nothing needs to be signed. It's already been signed by you or by your
Yes.
personnel.
All right, Public Works Department report.
That's kind of, I'm going to look at Brian and Jeff. They both, Brian and I went over a couple things this afternoon, and I also spoke to Jeff, so between the two of them. Brian, you want to discuss the 60 Legion Drive?
Well, what Mike is saying, he spoke to this property owner back when they paved the road, and he was giving an option of a diversion ditch or stones or a curb, and he chose the diversion ditch, which has been in place. So we don't know if he's still having problems with it, or...
He is. Hang on. While I was out on vacation, he had called and said he's still dealing with the major runoff since the repave. and it wasn't just this last repave, it was one before. He didn't say that he had gotten that option before.
That's just Mike's side of it?
Yep. Yep, that's what Mike told me also.
Does he want to be contacted again? Is that what he's asking?
He does.
Okay.
Can you take care of that?
Go with the road crew out and see what he's complaining.
I have a phone number when you want it later. I'm not going to shout it out now.
Thank you.
The house north, yeah.
Got House North?
Apparently there's a collection on the building that we can change the equipment.
No, I'm just saying, is the work done and is it okay to pay that bill? I have it in the bills tonight, but we can certainly pull it out. It was over $30,000. My understanding is from Brian that it was all South North. It wasn't marked on the bill, and I did not get it. H&K was not sure. They were like, we billed. So I'm like, okay.
So the question is, was the work satisfactorily done?
You want to comment?
I'm not sure it's completely done. We had talked about replacing pipes and everything else, but that's,
No. It's not completely done. We had to get a DEP special permit, emergency permit, which when I first called them up, they said we would have it within 1 day of them receiving all the material, and it ended up being about a month because they had to go to U.S. Fish and Wildlife. We got a bog turtle hit, and we required a bog turtle specialist to come in from New Jersey to clear the site. Because of that, we couldn't get them up into the creek where we have a 90-degree bend, where my restoration plan calls for large rock armoring of the curve in the creek. That's where the creek jumped the bank and carried the stuff through the neighbor's yard and washed out his driveway. So we want to get some large rock up in that at the bend, 90-degree bend, to keep it from jumping the bank in the future. That needs to still be performed. When I initially met out there right after the flood with Mike and Brian, and I think maybe you, Jake, my estimate that was going to be $30,000 to $50,000. That's what we put on the application that just got turned in. I don't think it'll reach the 50. We wanted to put additional pipes in at the creek to pass more water. DEP shot that down. They said they would not allow a second pipe to be added. So I had to take that out of the permit application. Everything else is approved. And I did receive the emergency permit last week. It's in my inbox to be printed and signed and returned to DEP. But the work's been done. Now I can get H&K scheduled to come in and finish the balance.
So the work that we're being billed for has been...
It has been done, and I saw pictures of it, and I drove by, and it looked fine. I'll do a more thorough inspection when it's 100% complete.
Okay. Do you agree, Brian? Yep. Okay.
The grant money that's been applied for, so it would be money that they, if we get approved, that they would be sending, and we could apply it to the bills we
Yes.
just are doing now.
This is a PEMA grant, like in 2011 when we had Lee and Ivan back-to-back. PEMA did fund a lot of municipal repairs. I don't know if you had any back then. It took them a little while, but they came through with the money.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
All right.
Let's make a motion to pay the bill that we have for the work that's already done on South Smart.
I will second that motion. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is carried to pay the bill.
Jane, we were questioning which bridge, since one is ours and one is state today.
This would be ours. We don't talk about the state one.
what's wrong with the bridge?
This is the one that they had sent their report to Jake, and then we have a priority one maintenance on it. You remember, Jake? Remove the timber debris trapped or wedged at the upstream nose and hanging over cell 2, which I have pictures. This work is to be completed within 6 months as required by Pub 100A. So at this point, Mike had been given a copy of these also. Maybe they're on the desk back in the shop area. I do not know. If you cannot locate them there, I can make additional copies.
They're still waiting on our answer whether the work is done or not.
Yes, and we would need pictures and, if we need any language put into it on our response to them. But pictures do speak 1,000 words, so.
Right?
Do you have any idea if it's been completed or?
The debris has been removed from the pipes.
That was my understanding, right?
Yeah, that definitely was, and there was photographs sent to me of the debris being removed.
So then you could just get the photographs.
Yeah, I had that part.
Okay.
But we'll still go back and make sure it's 100%. I wasn't at once, and I've seen nothing else that's in our responsibility.
Yeah, I was there too, so. Yeah, get the pictures to Jane. Double check it, make sure it is still clear. Okay, and then the Midway Road Bridge. I did see Rich Kramer, I guess this is Tulpa Hawkins' responsibility. And he said.
They're claiming full responsibility.
Yeah, and they're going through the process. I guess they're figuring out what the process precisely is right now.
Yeah.
But the road may, or that bridge may get closed down.
It will be closed this week. There's no way they can completely replace the bridge and get the permits. They're going to attempt to see if the last DEP permit is still open. And if it is, they're going to use that. If not, they have to reapply.
Yeah. So-
GP 11, aren't they good for almost ever? They changed that.
5 years.
Oh, yeah?
No, 2, excuse me, 2.
I'd have to dig out that email.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought the GP 11s were no longer having to be reapplied all the time. But that's.
I think they're good for 2 years to get the work done. And then the permanent use of the creek is permitted once the initial work's finished.
Okay.
Let me know.
Okay. All right.
Also, Brian he sent the pictures that they had taken through the flooding over to Tulpa Hawkins, so that was also done. So that should help them also.
Good. So, just for everybody's information, that bridge may be closed for a while. We're not sure how long. But Tulpa Hawkins working on it. Okay, next we have the 1995 Ford truck.
I took a bunch of pictures. I sent them to Jane. I also had, Jeff did a description of the truck. So now we just have decided what we want to do. There was some people privately interested in it, but nobody ever got back to me.
They've been calling the township and we cannot do it that way.
Yeah.
We have to advertise.
So I don't know if we just want to, what do you want to do, advertise municipal bid, what do you want to do?
Yeah, we should probably do municipal so that we get the highest price.
So you should have everything now, I think, right?
I believe we do. You want to put a floor on it? Do you want to put a reserve price? I think right for it.
Any idea, Jeff? You know the truck as good as I do.
There were some numbers being thrown around when we were kind of looking online, trying to find comparables, but I don't want to use those because I don't know.
It's not required, but
It's not online, is it?
Yeah, I think we should probably put a floor on it.
okay, when do you want the bid to come down? Like the Friday before the meeting? Do you want to?
That's fine.
Meeting? That's fine.
Right.
Okay, I need a motion authorizing me to do the municipal bid and also the ready vehicle because that's illegal.
I'll make a motion to advertise the 1995 Ford truck for sale for the ready vehicle and municipal bid, please.
Okay, I will second that motion. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried.
Before we move on, since Mike isn't here, I asked Jeff if he could just give a real quick rundown of what they did, since Mike kind of mentions things that they did, so I don't know if Jeff just wants to.
Of course, I'm not there all the time, but I can touch on some things. Some of the outside lighting was broken or staying on all the time. We replaced that. Numerous reflectors in the township were replaced for public safety and also when we're plowing snow, so we know where the edge of the roads are. We did cold patch Club Road and Dow Road, which I think we worked on. We washed and serviced the 2 tractors and mowers. Removed some brush from some fire hydrants that weren't even seen anymore. Got them all mowed back. Removed tree debris from Gravel Pit Road Bridge down the creek, cutting that up. Stop signs were replaced. Repaired snow plow, needed welding. Worked on the culvert at Club Road, put big rocks in there so it doesn't wash anymore. Got some of the equipment ready for winter. We have 2 trucks completely ready, plows on, ready to go, salt spreaders, and the others ain't far behind, and doing maintenance and getting things ready.
Also, we were talking about our Midway Road, Old 22 intersection, waiting to put the solar red sign lights on. We got prices. We did, well, Ed did some research and found some, but we were holding off till we could be sure that we were legally able to do it. So, is there anything further, Jeff, that was it PennDOT that you emailed? Or who was it? I can't remember. I had to look back at that email. Or can we go ahead and do that?
I'll have to look again.
Okay.
Sorry.
Because I know he had found 2. And we had said about making sure the painting on the road, and I don't know if there's signs we can do. I think there's stop ahead signs out there already, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
I don't know how the road is paint-wise,
There's flashing lights.
but we did find the solar flashing lights, 1 for each end.
I'm waiting for an answer from the district engineer. The municipal services rep said he thought we could put the flashing lights up, but I needed to get an official opinion from traffic.
So if you could, as soon as you know, then I'll pass it on to them. Hopefully we can stop some of the traffic accidents that we're having there.
Okay. Is that it? All right, next we have the solicitor's report, Mr. Price.
Yes, last month I handed out a draft of a nuisance ordinance, and we're going to review it and have comments. If you have any comments, you're welcome to bring them up tonight or email me, or if you want to adopt it as written, you can make a motion to authorize me to advertise it. It'll be on the November agenda.
Chief Murphy, did you happen to look at that? I know we talked about it, but I don't know if there's anything you wanted to change in that.
You want to defer it for a month then?
I think so, because I'd like to go through it again.
Okay.
Just make sure that all the bases are covered.
I have a quick question. Under D2, and it talks about the lumens and all of that, are there standards already in our zoning or someplace for the lumens permitted?
I don't know. I would be surprised if it's in your zoning. Usually the lumens are addressed at land development. That's
Well,
where.
I know it's part of lighting when Robin does the plan. That's why I was wondering.
I can talk, pardon me, I can talk to Robin about the lumens, see, get her input.
There is something in the performance standards for industrial, which is why we're able to enforce it for R2, which, by the way, we'll be going over the night to check their light levels to make sure that they're back into compliance.
Okay, so you did get a meter then?
I did.
Very good.
The second item is the comment limit of 4 minutes. It's going to be by resolution. That'll be ready for your review and perhaps signing next month. I do have the TAC, which is the traffic resolution for you to have a motion to sign it. And then you'll also need a motion to have me advertise the TAC ordinance as well. So 2 items there.
I'll make a motion, sign and advertise.
I will second that motion. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried.
What did you just say?
She made a
What?
motion to advertise the ordinance and sign the TAC resolution.
Okay, so it's resolution 2021-31.
Okay?
Robbie and Kate and Heather. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Okay. And next we have the engineer's report, Mr. Steckbeck.
The pavilion at Airport Road Recreation Area was advertised for bids because it exceeded the state minimum. The Wood Originals had originally quoted approximately $26,000, and they did not bid when it was advertised with wage rates. We did only get one bid. I have my young engineer, Alex Kaufman, here. He's an understudy who's going to be moving to take over some of my municipal clients in a few years. Alex, can you give him an update on the Airport Road bid and what the price was?
Yes, so the only bidder we had for that was the Dutchman Contracting, and their quote amount was $62,393. And Jeff had informed me that there was some concern about the discrepancy in price there in regards to the original quote. And I'd like to mention that that original quote is over a year old at this point, so there might be some reason for that discrepancy. And that's all I had on that.
We shared the price with Don Allman. I believe he talked to you, Jake, and I think someone said that you were inclined not to accept the bid.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty much the consensus of the rec board as well.
Okay.
Who was the bidder again?
It's Dutchman Contracting, LLC.
Alex also has for you, for Airport Road and Rec Park, a drawing that shows the pickleball courts that the rec committee had indicated they'd like to have constructed. Alex, can you share that with them?
Yes, I have that here. I also have here. Jeff,
Pick it up.
I do have.
Jake doesn't fight.
I do have also a plan of the Fryestown Road Park, which was also requested by the supervisors. This is the airport road. If you'd like to take a look at that.
Thank you.
So I provided two examples there of possible locations for those pickleball courts, and of course those are open to discussion, and we can put those really wherever you like.
Just as a point, Jeff, where's the second pavilion eventually planned for?
It was further down the walking trail.
I believe I excluded that from that plan, but we do have plans showing where the proposed location of that second one was. I believe it's just past the playground.
Yeah, it's
walking towards the pickleball courts there.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure there's no conflict.
Yeah, that is
We did add electrical conduit to be brought out to a service pole and the conduit under the concrete slab for a future breaker box in this pavilion. That probably added $3,000. And the concrete slab is a little larger than what was on the Wood Originals quote. That may have added $3,000 or $4,000 more, but nothing to justify it being, $38,000, $40,000 more.
And that's at the Fryestown Park that we do requested pickleball courts there. And I'd spoken to Don Allman about the location of those, and he had mentioned that he wanted to replace the basketball court that's at the north end of that. So that's where I was showing those there, just as a quick sketch, just to get an idea of where those would be.
If the rec committee wants one of us to come to their next meeting, we'll be happy to attend. They can just let us know.
Okay, I can check with Don.
Thank you.
They've also canceled their October meeting.
Right.
There's another before, so it would be November. They don't typically have a November meeting. So
Sounds like the first one.
it would be maybe December or January.
Okay.
Yeah, they do the tree lighting, so.
So So that was the pavilion update and then recreation update. Dunkard Brethren Church, they submitted a Dunkard Brethren Church submitted a stormwater management plan for the addition of recreation structure on the, I believe, the east end of their building. They came to the Planning Commission meeting. It did qualify for the land development exemption. I did the review under the stormwater criteria. There is no process in our ordinance that requires municipal approval or gone through Planning Commission or Board of Supervisors. Traditionally, other townships and other counties, stormwater management plans are reviewed and approved by the engineer. I did sign the 6 copies of their plan. If you're interested in looking at it, it's rolled up right there. Jane, this is the second one we've done?
Yes.
Did you put it on because you think the supervisor should approve it?
I put it on there because it was on planning, and so I brought it here not knowing whether they need to then do anything with it because this is our second one. No idea.
Right. The other one you did, of course, was Hellenic Chemical. They had some issues there that were beyond what the church's project encompasses. And in fact, I've already received sketches from Brian Rowland for Helena to actually now do a land development plan and add another structure and expand another structure or 2. So they will be coming into us with a full application, and then they'll be subject, of course, to the other fees. So back to Dunkard Brethren. I've signed it. It meets our ordinance. If you would like to give it consideration, I'll be happy to unroll it and show it to you. Or if you're satisfied that it can be something that I just approved, that's also good by me, whatever you choose.
I'd like to take a few minutes of your.
So here's the existing church and school building, their parking lot. They have a play area. Here's where they're adding their gymnasium, 9,700 square feet. They're putting in underground infiltration facilities. They're taking it to them with downspouts and leader pipes. They provided the percolation testing that I asked for. You can see here the stone beds they're going to put where the downspouts come down so that the water soaks in and doesn't run off onto the neighbors. And that's pretty much it.
That's good. I don't know if we have to go beyond your approval sign.
For these, this is the traditional signature spot that demonstrates that it's been reviewed and meets the township ordinance.
Thank you. Next, we have the municipal authority.
I'm sorry, Jake, I had a couple more.
Oh, you have all of those? Okay.
Yeah, the Brown Road contractor that worked for North Point, that was one of the conditions of their project approval. They did come back since last meeting, and they added the topsoil along the sides of the road. They seeded it, and they also brought in rock and stone and filled in along the side of the road to prevent any dangers from people falling off of the elevated 2 or 3 inch lip. That looks acceptable to me. Like I said earlier, for RAR 2, they've now submitted their full request for release of financial security. I've not yet done my final inspection. One of the issues to be resolved was the lighting. I did receive a call today from Tom Hassler, indicated it appears they made some change, like maybe Friday, and the lighting is better now. He wasn't sure, maybe because we had had full moon over this past weekend. Maybe there's a light sensor that was preventing a light from coming on. Nevertheless, I have a light meter. I'm going to go over there and measure it after the meeting. Then if it comes back, if he calls me again, I'll run back again and check it a second time. North Point Warehouse, they received their financial security release down from their original $10.2 million to $500,000. I'm expecting that they'll ask for their full release in the very near future. And that would be all that I have to report.
Okay, next week, yes, Tom?
I just wanted to say thank you to Robbie, Jake, and Jeff for taking care of the lights. Ever since Friday, my little boy finally sleeps in his room again. So there's a little bit of a glare, but I'm not complaining about that. His room's not lit up. I'm happy. So thank you.
So I had to have dark when I sleep, so I couldn't have slept in that room.
Well, he kept thinking there was monsters outside. So
hopefully now you're good.
yeah, he's fine now.
You know, Robert doesn't think there's monsters when it's too light outside.
There's no monsters.
Okay, next week, municipal authority. Let's see, any report. Randy, do you have anything to add?
I'm only going in to work tomorrow. I haven't worked in the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I have no idea what's happening or what I will find tomorrow morning.
Okay. All right, next we have the library board. And the only thing I really have to report is the 5K run, which was done last weekend, last Saturday. And I'm not exactly sure. I guess I'll find out. I was not able to attend the library meeting this past Thursday night because there was a PSATS convention in Hershey that I had to be at. But the 5K took place. I do not know the results, or I would give them now. Let's see, the rec board. You heard the issue with the pavilion cost. There's also the thing which was not resolved last month, and that is the Fryestown Pavilion. It needs repairs. Do we approve Dale Stump to do the repairs? He had given an estimate of less than $3,800, he said. It's not going to be that high, but the rec board wanted to make sure he was safe with the level that he was quoting. So do we want to approve Dale to do those repairs?
I think that needs to be done, so I'll make a motion to approve Dale Stump to make the necessary repairs at the pavilion in Fryestown.
Okay. And I'll second that motion. Motion is made and seconded to approve Dale Stump to do the repairs at the Fryestown Pavilion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. And next we have the EAC report. That was, there was not much to discuss beyond what was accomplished. I think it was 3 weeks ago now when they did the litter pickup on the 501 exit, the entrance and exit ramps. I forget what the exact amount was. 40. How much was it, Mike?
I don't remember. It was a lot fewer bags than we usually get.
Yeah,
I'm surprised at how.
These exits don't seem to have as many trucks parking and throwing trash out the window. So it's better than 645. But it was still a bunch of trash. So that was done. And I just want to thank the rec board for getting out there and doing that. Okay, then unfinished businesses. We have the EAC vacancy. There's a member needed for that. We still haven't done that. Masano Bradley, letter for zoning hearing attorney.
Jim Gavin is going to be become a common pleas judge as of January 3rd or 4th, and he was your zoning solicitor for many years. Masano Bradley is a well-known Berks County law firm. They do a lot of municipal work. They have people who can take Jim's place if you so desire.
I don't have a problem with it, but I haven't really checked into any other options.
And that's the only thing we really have right now.
I don't think you have any zoning applications pending, but if you get to December and you got a zoning application pending and it's going to be heard in January, Jim can't be the solicitor, so you're going to have to act by December.
Okay, well, let's just say we'll wait at least till next month and see if there are any other options. Okay. Website update?
There is a young lady at the high school that is looking to do it for her senior project. We have not been able to connect yet, but that's where we're headed. And we'll let you guys know, obviously, before, but that's looking positive.
So it's somebody from the high school. Okay, next we have the budget dates.
I did talk to Mike. I know he would like to attend. He can't be sure 100%, but the next 2 weeks are out. After that, things may be.
I said absolutely. Yeah, I haven't even looked at, I have a folder that I've started, but I haven't done any calculation.
Yeah, he said if we could, I didn't think it would be an issue to push it off, a little bit. I mean, he can't guarantee, but he might be able to. I know a Wednesday or a Thursday works better for him, and I'm on your schedule looks like.
What time are we looking at?
I think we did it at 6 last year.
This is what we did.
Okay. I would say probably for myself, it would be best to do that Thursday.
Are you looking at the 11th or the 18th? Is the 18th too far?
You're getting close to being too far, so if we go by, try to do it like the 11th, see where we are, although I do like to advertise too because it's more economical. And if we don't need the second one, we can put on the website and the door, but
I'm okay with the 10th or the 11th, whatever you want.
the 11th is the Thursday.
Yeah. Are you okay with that?
I can do 10 if we have to. Yeah.
Which one do you prefer?
I would prefer Thursday, but I can do Wednesday.
Can we just go for Thursday? If that works better. I'm good. I mean, it's like I said, I'm good.
Well, do we want to do that with, let's do it 10, and then if we need more, we can do 11.
Oh, I think that's how we did it before. If we need the second meeting, we need the next day.
Right. That way we can get it out of the way Wednesday.
The only thing is if you guys come in with surprises, it takes a little longer to do it than just the next day sometimes. So,
Chief Murphy,
they don't have any big surprises.
We'll have our
You know what I'm
numbers next
talking
week. We'll have our numbers next week for you.
Okay. Yeah, it's helpful to have the numbers ahead of time than coming in and, saying, let's make a full-time department. That was tough. It was done, but it makes the math a little quick.
All right, we'll be on my end. We'll be ready, so we'll get with you next week. So let's go for the November 10th at 6 and the 11th if needed. Same time.
Same time. Yeah.
If you could advertise, please. I'll make a motion for Jane to advertise budget meeting November 10th at 6 o'clock, and if a second meeting is needed, November 11th at 6.
Okay. Motion's made. I'll second that motion. So the motion is made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Next we have the American Rescue Plan Allocation Report.
Yeah, I said I'd be ready with the report for you guys to sign off of. Well, they pushed that off until January. I don't think the forms were ready, really. So they're doing the cutoff as of December 31st, and then the reports are going to be due January, so stay tuned.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and then a reminder about Trick or Treat Night, October 31st from 6 to 8.
I did, just to make you aware, I did do an email requesting fire police for the Bethel Square. I didn't do any for Fry's Town because I know there wasn't a whole lot of foot traffic there the last time we did a trick or treat. So we didn't think it was really necessary, but we did do a request for fire police for Bethel Square.
Okay. Anything else under unfinished business? If not, we move to new business. LERTA application for Central Logistics Park, lots 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, we have a mechanism in our LERTA information rules, regulations, ordinance, all of that. That say 30 days from the issuance of zoning for building. They did do this after our September meeting, which was the 24th. And so they're looking at all of those lots to be included in LERTA, which are in those is in that district. All of those lots are within the district. I did double check that with assessment, because they're the ones that actually do all the figuring on the letters. So she's confirmed with me. So it would take the chairman to say, yep, we approve those. And then we get that to the assessment office, and then they do their thing as soon as I give them all the mechanisms to start it officially on their assessment.
Okay. If we're voting on that, I would vote to reject the LERTA application.
I second that.
Motion is made and seconded.
Wait, was this alerted district already? It was already
Yes.
created as alerted district?
It is alerted district.
Oh, so you can't get away.
There's not really a rejection on this.
So there's nothing we can do?
So this is just,
We've already approved this district. These guys are just saying that, yes, we are making application to make sure that we're within our rights. And it has to be on an application to go to the county. They then do what they have to do. But this is already a district. They're not asking for a new one. It is already one.
There's nothing we can do?
Well, no, because under your district, that's why they built there.
So basically, we just need a motion. I mean, there's nothing,
Motion to
we can't
authorize.
stop it.
so what this is not, God, I was thinking this is creation of alerted
That's what I was
district.
thinking too, and I didn't.
This is an exemption.
This is for them to get into the LERTA program in a district that's already been created. And the tax assessment office will then calculate the tax that would have been due and then the phase in over 10 years.
And this was put in place in 2016. I can't give you the month, but it was done in 2016.
All right, so in other words, this is just a
Motion to authorize you to sign that application.
right.
All of those applications.
Can we do one to cover them all?
Sure.
All right, I'll make a motion then for Jake to sign the order documents.
Okay, and I guess I'll second. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Ralph Moyer, DEP, SEO.
We've already done it.
That's done, but yeah, it's finished. CM High, video recorder broken?
Yeah, when they did their inspection and Mike was, actually there was an issue with the one down at Beresburg Road and 501. And they had put it in a state of automatic something, which is allowed to happen on a temporary basis. It does need to be what the permit has been approved for, and right now it's not, but it's okay, it's temporary. So what they figured out that's happening is that the existing camera video is not working anymore, and we need to replace the existing video detector with the new traffic cam video system. And it's $4,600. This comes out of our signs and signals budget. We propose to furnish material and labor complete in accordance with the above specifications, which is the camera holder for the sum of $4,600. And they would like this signed by the township. They're also the people that we have maintaining our traffic lights.
It's not something we can go without. It needs to be done. So,
All right, I'll make a motion that we replace the broken video detector.
I'll second that motion.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Contact info for the Recorder of Deeds office.
Yep, they're just updating their computer, and they want an authorized signature on this. I put the contact with myself and our email address, our phone number, and they want to know what bank we use, and I will furnish that information. I did put FCCB on here, but I did not put our account number, routing number, just in case I lost the form. I did not, it's here, but I'll put it on tomorrow before I send it.
I'll make a motion to have chairman sign contact info for the recorder deeds office.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Now we have authorization for the treasurer to sign and disperse foreign fire allocation online.
Yep, it is done online. We've always done that by motion, so it needs to be in, I don't know, 60 days. We're well within that, but I would like to get that completed this week.
Okay, I'll make a motion to authorize Jane to sign and disperse the foreign fire allocation.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried.
Jane, I have a question. How much was that for?
We received a check of $17,815 and some cents.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, next we have payment of the bills.
I'll make a motion to,
Don't see any numbers on here.
Oh, you're not going to, because we post this thing beforehand.
Okay.
I'll shout them out for you. The general account is $33,867, going to check number 33,895, and street light 230.
Okay. All right. Robbie made a motion to pay the bills. I will second that we pay the bills. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay, next we have public comment. Yes, go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, can you get the sound system repaired till next meeting so we can hear back here? It goes in and out. We hear a little bit now and then.
I think you need him just lean close.
I think it's always canceling mic. Just get the screen within 6 inches of your face. You gotta get closer.
can you hear me now?
No.
How's that?
Better?
No. You gotta get it closer.
Well, next is gonna be my mouth. I mean, how close are we gonna get here? Anything, Dennis?
I couldn't hear it before. You heard a little bit now and then.
That's allowed.
Can you hear better?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, problem solved.
Okay, public comment. We have, yes. Mr.
Okay, that under new business, that lure application, where are those lots located?
Down on Fort Motel Drive, and also one coming off of Central Boulevard.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone's 45.
Okay. Dave? Oh, Betty, go ahead.
You're gone.
Okay, good evening.
I would like to share a few facts related to two questions I have this evening. Fact 1, today is October 18th, 2021. Fact 2, last Tuesday, October 12th, 2021, at the Planning Commission meeting, Mr. Bowman called out from the audience, and I quote, "Plan B is deemed approved." Fact 3, at that same meeting, Mr. Price concurred with Mr. Bowman's statement and further stated that due to time limit regulations, the Bowman Subdivision and Land Development Plan now has preliminary approval. Fact 4, also at that meeting, I asked the professional township advisors in attendance why you, the Board of Supervisors, were not advised of this technicality when you reduced the Bowman's extension letter request to 30 days. Mr. Price stated, you, the Board of Supervisors, were so advised. Fact 5, the Bowmans have submitted a subdivision and land development plan dated March 5, 2020. The plan proposes 2 warehouses and 6 chicken houses. Fact 6, the township completed a zoning review of this plan dated August 10, 2020. This review has 10 comments. Fact 7, the township completed an engineering review of the plan dated August 11, 2020. This review has 78 comments. Fact 8, this plan has road frontage on Route 645, Dobb Road, Little Mountain Road, Meyer Drive, and Route 78, with a total of 5 separate frontage sections, meaning other property owners have road frontage on these same roads. Fact 9, the subdivision and land development comments 30, 31, and 32 of the engineering review state. 30, curbs shall be installed along all existing streets abutting a subdivision or land development. 31, sidewalks shall be installed along all existing streets abutting a subdivision or land development. 32, street lighting shall be provided along all streets abutting a subdivision or land development within the industrial commercial districts. Of course, I have more questions than time this evening will allow, so I will only ask 2. First, what does this curbing, sidewalks, and lighting look like? As you answer this question, please remember that the bridge on Dobb Road is part of the road frontage I mentioned in Fact 9. And my second question is, why did you, the Board of Supervisors, opt to use this time limit technicality for preliminary approval of this plan rather than the traditionally used review that you use for your approval process?
I'll answer the second question first. I didn't vote for it.
You abstained.
I didn't vote for it.
And I was under the assumption that the ag was going to stay ag and the IC is IC, so I think extension after extension was really not doing anybody any good. I mean, this has been dragging on for years. So there's nothing really more we could do about it. I think it just needed to be almost put to rest, only because I think it's been going on way too long.
But my question is, why didn't it go through the Planning Commission review? Why did you use this little technicality? Why didn't it?
Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe you could explain more as to where we're at.
Well, the extension was coming up. The Bowmans requested an extension. I'm just going by memory. I think to December 31st of 2021. December 7th. And I advise that if you don't accept the extension, that you're under the MPC guidelines, that you have to have either an approval or a denial within a certain time frame. And if you don't accept it, the time frame's going to run and they're going to get what's called the deemed approval. So if I didn't explain it well enough, I guess that would be on me, but I thought everybody was under full knowledge of what a deemed approval meant. It's a deemed preliminary approval, as I discussed with Mr. Bowman last Tuesday, but yes, it's a deemed approval.
Okay. And since it's not final, excuse me, Mr. Seth.
I'll just clarify, and I was aware of the time constraint and the fact that the plan was approaching a deemed approval. I called the solicitor to confirm that, in fact, the supervisor's desires were properly entered into the minutes and that the time limit was coming up. He said, yes, that's the case. I said, well, they'll need to call a special meeting if they want to reject the plan or grant a time extension. He said that would be the case. I called Mike Gravy up and advised him to make sure that he fully understood what the time constraint meant, and that if they don't call a special meeting to act on the plan and or act on the time extension, it will become a deemed approval under the code. He said, let me make a few phone calls and think about that. He did, and about an hour later, he called me back and he said, that's the plan the people wanted, that's the plan they'll get. And that's where it was left.
Okay, and I have no objection with the concept, but my question is, why is it not going to to my knowledge, and I've been attending either Zoom or in person, the planning commission meetings, I am not aware, and the last time you spoke to that, you said that the engineer had not gotten anything to you, so.
That's correct.
Okay. So I guess my question is, why would you not have the normal process?
And maybe I misunderstood it, you know, like I said, this, I'm still a little confused on how all this works. I mean, it's ag and it's IC, I mean, it's approved to be what it's approved. I mean, it's been IC in the front section for a very long time.
And I'm not disputing that. That's fine with me. I just want to know.
Ag is ag. They're going to be able to do what they're going to do, and ag approved, you know, and I just think it was time, my opinion was that this needs to be put to rest. Because it's zoned what it's zoned, and they're going to do what's legally able to be done within their zoning rights.
Okay, but that then means that they're sort of locked into this plan, correct?
No, it means this plan is locked in by the township, under township and state rules. The Bowmans can come in and file 20 different plans for that piece of property. This doesn't mean they're handcuffed to that plan.
Yeah, that's how I understood it, was because that plan is legally able, as far as I understand, within their zoning rights.
And I
You
do
know,
not
but they can
disagree with
change
that.
their mind. I mean, they can change their mind, say, we change their mind, we don't want to do this, we want to do it a different way. You know, maybe they have a buyer or something wants to do something different on the ag or the IC, which they would then be allowed to do, correct?
Yeah, they'd have to file a
And that's-
plan, and would have to go through the planning commission and the supervisors.
And that's pretty much how I understood it.
So, Betty, if I understand you correctly, you don't challenge
Oh, no.
the plan
I
itself.
mean, that part of
You're
this.
challenging the process.
Right, I am challenging the process. I celebrate the fact that
Okay,
this
well,
happened.
let me just explain one thing. It is almost unheard of in the state of Pennsylvania to reject an extension letter and set a lower limit. Am I correct or not?
It is unusual.
It's highly unusual.
Okay, could I just interrupt?
Yeah.
Is it also highly unusual that somebody has a plan on record from March of 2020 and nothing has been done as of October 18th? Is that also not unusual?
It is unusual. I would say that 1 out of 200 plans might have that situation occur. In North Cornwall Township, we had a developer from New Jersey who had a plan filed, and we had the crash of the economy back in 2007. He had that thing to extension after extension for almost 10 years. And finally, the supervisors prompted him to do something, and he did. But yeah, it went 10 years. But that's very unusual.
Okay, so if the Bowmans go through this is my concern. There's some things here that just don't seem to happen the way that other plans happen. And so that's why I picked out the whole curbing and street light. Normally, those things are waived. So now what happens? I mean, they said this is the plan is approved. So just explain to me, like just on my road alone, if you don't want to do it all, okay? On Dobb Road, at the eastern side end of the road, the property is owned by Weilers, then the Bowman zone. And during that area, there is a bridge. So that means there would have to be curbing and all of these things like over the bridge. Then the Balsa zone. Then the Bowman zone. Then there is a section that Shimura's to Newman zone. Then there is a break Bowman zone. Then there's holes all the way to the end of the road. So on that road alone, there are 3 places. I can't in my mind imagine what this would look like.
Their plan doesn't show that they're going to be installing the curbing. They were going to ask for the waiver, and they likely would have been granted the deferral. But in this particular case, the supervisors chose not to grant the time extension for that to go to a final decision. So what is shown on the plan is what they're entitled to build for 5 years. After 5 years, it expires. So they don't show, it'll stay the way it is under their plan.
So even things that aren't, like your other comments, they don't have to be addressed. That's what I'm trying to find out here.
That's correct. That's correct. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, yeah, Dave.
I have one question. I missed the meeting here earlier, I'm sorry, I was working, but most of my questions were answered here by public comment and that. I have one other question. Was there any discussion at the meeting tonight about the payloader? Okay, that's all I wanted to know. That was my main question.
How about why? This is Hester. Okay.
Let Randy go.
Randy?
How many, for my own knowledge, how many active warehouses do we have in the township right now?
Define active.
Active by meaning are actually up and operational?
Yeah.
Right.
Every one that's been built, with the exception of one, is occupied. With the exception of two. The one on Midway Road is leased.
It is leased.
But not occupied, and the one straight across here is still being built. Is not occupied.
But they do have a lease.
12 or 14?
I was going to say 11 on the floor.
11, I think. I'm with Jane on that.
So we're looking at 11, possibly more.
Yeah, there's 3 more.
Okay, the only thing, and this is just a comment, Jake and Robbie, Upper Burn has one active warehouse, Amazon. They have a second one under construction. And just, I believe it was last week, was in the paper that Upper Burn reduced their millage by, I think it was 0.3%, or I won't, don't quote me on what they reduced it. But I know for a fact they have 2 brand new Kenworth trucks on order coming in there. And I know they're not as big as what we are. And now that you're starting on the budget, you know, I can remember those days. And I know, I absolutely know that it's better now than it was 6, 8, 12 years ago.
Definitely, it's much better.
So it's just a thought, maybe that's something that might come up in budget talks about possibility giving everybody a break and drop the millage, whatever is possible. Thank you.
Okay, Lisa?
Jake, I have a few questions for you. At the June 21st Board of Supervisors meeting, Mike motioned for the purchase of a John Deere loader with the purchase price of $126,000 plus the trade-in of the township cat loader for $26,000. Robbie seconded the motion. There was a lot of community input, which is documented, and it was agreed that Mike would get 2 more estimates to repair the township loader. Mike had an estimate for $37,961.67 from Foley. If the estimates come in higher from Foley, they would buy. Mike did not get more estimates by the July 19th Board of Supervisors meeting, which led to an additional hour of discussion with the resident mechanics. At that time, it was suggested to contact Amos Stauffer Repair in Denver, who runs a well-known cat repair facility. Mike stated on video, "Get me the number and I'll call." The very next day, I hand-delivered the Stauffer Repair number to Jane for Mike. 2 weeks later, Stauffer Repair was contacted and they stated that they were never contacted by the township. I then gave the number to Jake Moyer, our chairman, and he called right away and scheduled an appointment. However, Stauffer Repair never showed up and they never called. As a follow-up, they were contacted again and they stated Mike Gravy called and canceled the appointment. This indicates, 1, that Mike had the number for Stauffer Repair but chose not to call, and 2, why did Mike call and cancel an appointment made by the chairman to fulfill a motion made at the June and July Board of Supervisors meeting to get at least 3 estimates. Thankfully, Jake took additional steps to get another certified cat technician with over 30 years of experience. His total estimate to repair the township loader was around $2,100. The actual total was just under $1,800. The motor checked out fine. The noise was a baffle in the muffler. I did a right to know request for the delivery date of the new loader on June 22nd, 2021. I received a reply from Jane stating quote, she spoke with Mike Grady, and he stated he can't give me something that didn't happen yet. However, the loader was sitting in the township building the night of the June Board of Supervisors meeting. At the August 2021 Board of Supervisors meeting, a citizen asked Mike, when was the new loader delivered? Mike stated on video it was delivered about a week before the June meeting. Full well knowing the loader was in the township building when Jane went to Mike to fulfill my right to know request, he stated it was not delivered yet. Since the purchase order was not completed at the June meeting, the documents show a lease purchase order with plaster equipment. This never resulted in a purchase. Through a right to know request, we find that the township has been charged for an unauthorized rental agreement of $23,120 with plaster equipment for a loader that needed $1,800 of maintenance repair. That cost should not be incurred by the taxpayers of Bethel Township. Gravy Lane acted with malfeasance with their response to the needed maintenance of the township loader. We can speculate that plaster equipment will fine Bethel Township in breach of contract for the purchase of the John Deere loader through the lease purchase agreement contract number 004051 dated July 23, 2021. Based on the actions of Lane Gravy with the lease purchase agreement, that never happened. This past week, many citizens saw that the township loader was being torn apart for repair. Jake, will you please share what happened leading up to this repair that you were not aware was taking place at the time, and any other clarifications that you can make regarding the purchase lease of the loader that the township did not need? Thank you.
Jake, I wouldn't mind weighing in on this one.
Yeah.
Because right out of the gate, your facts are incorrect. I have a copy of the quote because I said I would get involved to get more quotes.
I have the quote too.
I have all the quotes.
So do I.
What you do not have is the quote that was sent to Robbie Lane by email on July the 7th, and it was from Steve Weaver to repair the cat. And it was for $4,500 to $5,000 to pull the motor and repair all the coolant leaks and hydraulic leaks. I suggested that we move on this because I knew we were renting a machine. I actually agreed with Jake right out of the gate that we should get more quotes to repair that piece of machinery. Mike did go ahead and get another quote from Steve Weaver, and he's the guy that fixed all the equipment for Wangers. We did not act on it. Everyone drug their feet, and this became a big battle for months on end as we continued to rent a machine. When this guy could have fixed it, if I remember, Robbie, within the first 2 weeks, which means it would have been fixed for $4,500 to $5,000 right here on the quote by the end of July, which would have negated renting that brand new machine for August and September at least, saving the township $12,000 and some dollars. You know, so sometimes dragging your feet costs you a lot of money. And so we do have that quote.
And I would
Mike did present the quote.
I would also like to say, and I'm going to ask Brian to help me out with this because I don't know all the technical words. I have photos from Mr. Weaver of the repairs that needed done with the gasket where the leak is. He took photos before he did it. Brian, if you could help me out with that, because I don't know how to explain that.
I've seen the photos she's talking about. It's obvious the gaskets are deteriorated.
I mean, it's, yeah.
That's the timing cover gasket?
I have them on my phone.
It's the plate gasket against the engine block of the head, yes.
It's the ones that
the timing cover.
When I went up there when he was repairing it, he showed me where it was leaking, and you could see it. And I mean, I don't know much about gaskets, but there was not much left of it. It was very disintegrated. And he showed me where it was, and he did confirm that it was leaking and it needed to be repaired. He had the parts. He was in and out with them. I mean, I don't say how many days, but he had it done quickly. I do have the photos of the gasket, which I did forward to Jake, Mike, and I think Brian has them as well because I asked him just to explain a little more to me. He did send me, Mr. Weaver, the explanation of what was wrong with it. It might take me a moment to find, actually I might print out, but He explained what he did for his quote of, under $5,000. Like I said, he did send the pictures, and Jake does have them as well as Mike does. He said the gasket between the front cover and end block was deteriorated and leaking, which we have photos of. He replaced all gaskets and seals associated with the front cover and timing cover, also replaced the water pump and thermostat and associated gaskets. The reason he texted this to me, I asked him for the description because I wanted to have the correct explanation when it did come up. And like I said, I do have the photos, which the Board of Supervisors do have. So when he explained it to me and he showed me where the leak was, I'm not a professional, but you could see it plain as day. And he did, say that this definitely needed to be done. I know he's very well qualified, so I was comfortable with what he did. I appreciated his timely manner on it. I do agree there was loader expense rental that should not have been done, but that is what happened because of what we all in this room had decided to do. We have to pay that bill. We needed a loader. Now we have one that's working, and we pay. I don't see what there's more to discuss. We did what everybody asked to do, and now we have a working piece of equipment. If you want to see the pictures up there, I don't know how to get them up there, but Brian will explain what you see, but I don't know how to do that.
You said water pump. What did you say after that from his explanation?
Yeah, water pump, thermostat, hang on. Replace all gaskets and seals associated with the front cover and timing cover. Also replace the water pump and thermostat and associated gaskets. But yeah, if we wouldn't have done this summer, or sorry, excuse me, this winter, I mean, we're dumping antifreeze in it, and we could end up losing a loader. So this gentleman did a very good job, and he did it in a timely manner. And I think for a fair price, I saw it all ripped apart. I mean, there was a lot of work involved. So
when did you get that quote?
It was the beginning of July. It wasn't sent to me, it was sent to the supervisors.
I asked for all those quotes.
My question is, if you got the quote at the beginning of July, why then, Rob, did you come in the July Board of Supervisors meeting, which is what, the third Monday?
Correct.
And you gave your long talk, and they said, we're going to buy one, and so you rejected his quote, and you insisted on buying. Well, you didn't reject his quote, but you wanted to buy, you made a motion to buy the new one. Why didn't you just accept his quote?
because I was misinformed. I was told at first it was a $37,000 repair.
No, you were told it was $4,000 to repair, and you had the pictures and all that stuff, right?
I'm not sure which meeting it was, but the discussion was that Jake actually wanted to solicit some more bids, and I agreed with him. But that was the prior, I don't know if that was in June for sure or when, but June. I thought it was in June. And so...
It was June and July.
But it was in June where we agreed to get some more repair quotes.
Correct.
And then Steve Weaver brought one in literally in a few weeks. He sent one through, I think, it might have been July 1st, and then it was copied to Robbie the 7th. I'm not sure. I don't have those exact details, but like I said, I'm not a township employee, but I offered my services being in business, just to help, to try and get more quotes so we can have some more competitive bids. That's the only thing I was looking for.
That was good. That was good. My question is, other than Jake, why did the supervisors insist on buying one after they had your quote to fix it? That's a simple.
Well, I'm not going to speak for Mike, and I'm not going to spend hours on this like we did before, but after more research and after I talked to professionals, some in this room, and things were explained to me, more quotes were brought in, and we fixed it. I mean, it's done. I don't know what more you want, and I'm not discussing where my comments are done. I did what you did. I did what we were asked. We took care of it. We have a working piece of equipment. The other loader's gone. There was so much controversy over this within months, and we tried to do what everybody in this room wanted to do, and we did it, and it's fixed. I don't know. I have nothing more to say. I thought we did the right thing.
Jane, how many hours was this leased machine used for this $23,000?
I have no idea.
What?
It's not on the paperwork either.
Oh, okay. All right.
I believe it came to us with 55. I think each lease time was allowing 176 or 178 hours on it. What it was actually used, I have no idea.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the gentleman that did the repairs on the loader, did he give you an idea how long this was going on, that it was leaking?
No,
No,
I
the
didn't.
employees aren't checking anything?
I didn't ask that, Dennis. I was just happy that it was getting fixed and
Yeah,
so we can move on.
I don't want to inflame the situation, but the fellow that Steve is referencing, Steve Weaver, I spoke with him when he was fixing the loader the second time. He told me that he was given the go-ahead to fix the loader before it was run through the meeting. And after the meeting, after the agreement was made by the supervisors, and remember it's three of us that voted and approved the $2,100 repair. It wasn't just one person acting like some kind of a rogue. Sure. But some kind of a rogue called that fella and told him to come fix the loader, make sure he's got all the parts. That rogue is Mike Grady. After the meeting, after this other individual, and I just want to make clear too, because the lie has been going around that this is my mechanic. I didn't know this guy from Adam before he was recommended by one of the township residents. I checked his references, and then I called him. He was agreeable to come out. He told me this morning, he said if he had known that this kind of foolishness would be going on, that he would be stuck in the middle of something over which he had no control, he said he never would have even come out. So we have the situation where Mike Raby calls this guy, calls Steve Weaver, tells him to come out and fix the loader. Then we have the meeting. Then we have the agreement for Dave DeMakowitz to fix it. Then Mike calls Steve Weaver back and says, no, we have somebody else coming out. After that all transpires, this fellow comes out, and regardless what anybody says, he fixed, what he did was fixed the loader. There was still a tiny leak that was pointed out to him. I don't know if Brian would confirm this or not, but he said it was very minor. That was the opinion of him. I said, after listening to what he told me this morning, I said to him, what should have happened is both mechanics, the $2,100 repair and the $4,500 repair, should have both come out and gone over the machine together. And then we would have been able to make a decision pending the outcome of that discussion. Because to the best of my understanding, they're both qualified mechanics. But this tearing down a mechanic that's a certified cat mechanic to try to elevate and make somebody else look good, to me it's sickening. I don't know the fellow, but I know him by reputation. And to know that all this stuff was going on in the background, and here I'm trying to do my best to represent this township in a way that's going to keep it moving forward correctly. When we have this calling, fix the machine, don't fix the machine, fix the machine, I have to look at the totality of the thing. And even if we're saying, okay, there was money pissed away there, and there was, in the repairs. There's no doubt about it, because to tear the machine down, you have gaskets and seals that had to be taken out that were probably brand new and had to be replaced. So there was money pissed away. But still in all through this thing, I think we need to keep sight of the goal. The goal was to get the loader fixed. We spent, in its totality, we've spent less than $7,000 to do just that, as opposed to a $126,000 machine. That's the way I'm looking at it. So even if there was a waste that took place between these two guys, because decisions were made, then I'm not too upset. I'm upset that there was waste going on, and I'm upset at the fact that I'm hearing now all this stuff going on in the background. I'm upset with the fact that I'm being said or being told what I said when I never said some of this stuff. Like I told the guy to just patch it up so we can sell it. That's a lie. I never said that. I told him to fix it so it's operational because the township wasn't using it. So these are the things that I've been dealing with. Like I said, I'm here to represent the residents. And if that's not acceptable, that's fine. But I'm just telling you, this is the perspective that I've received from my seat and from the discussions I had with both mechanics. Trying to be impartial, trying to get a picture of what this all is about. Yes.
Can I ask a question? In June or July when I was here, I had asked a question about documentation on all the equipment. Since you have different drivers, do you know, has that documentation taken place?
There was sporadic documentation up until August of last year, I believe.
Okay.
On the machine.
That's when
All
he
machines.
left.
And
That's when Pete left, yeah, that's when it ceased.
You know, but there's, I guess what I was asking for at that point is the driver of any one given piece of equipment, when he returns at the end of the day, that driver is responsible for what that truck or that tractor or equipment did that day. He's responsible to, in my book, he's responsible to refuel that, check the oil, and document it.
Yep, I know precisely what you're talking about because when I was driving snowplow for the township, I did that. And just as an aside, I think I was the only person doing it.
And because if you do that daily, and all of a sudden the truck goes out or the tractor goes out in the same routine the next day or close to it, same hourly pattern, and all of a sudden you're using 3 more gallons of fuel, it'll show up just like turning a light switch on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, in the same way with greasing it.
It's to protect.
Yes. You know, it's just a question.
Yeah.
I'm just a little concerned that I think we could do a tighter maintenance if we were to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to have this stuff documented instead of just kind of willy-nilly doing whatever.
Yeah. They're getting paid. They're getting paid. You get paid the same to write down paperwork and document it.
Yeah, or to drive the equipment.
Yeah.
When was the repair of the loader?
I have the date on those pictures.
And where is the bill coming from? So when we get it, I'll have to call and make sure it's ours.
He said he asked for my email, so he can get it to us sooner. So as soon as I get it, I will forward it. When he sent the pictures, he asked for my email. I lost it again. I had it up. These were just. Can I get to that? Hang on, Jane.
Okay, we don't necessarily.
I'll get to that because I want to make sure you're the right
It
one.
would be great if they would have also
Jake,
contacted the township office about it.
I would like to make one. I would like to make one more comment in Mike's defense.
Okay.
He did want to repair that unit back in the beginning of July when we got this from Steve Weaver. It was misinformation with the other mechanic that it was only a baffle and the exhaust. And that's what was
That's not what he said.
That's what you said, sitting up there, that it was only $2,000 and some dollars because it's only a baffle and the exhaust. Almost verbatim.
No, Steve. Come on, Steve, be real.
I'm being real.
No,
That's
you're
exactly
not,
what you
because,
said.
No, because the accusation was made.
You got your mechanic out and you said it's $130,000 for a new one, or it's $2,000. Like,
No,
that's the
Steve,
comparison.
be realistic.
That's not the
No.
comparison.
No, what the...
We were going to fix the used machine, even if you decided to get the... Let me finish. Even if you decided to get the new machine, which that's not on my part, we were going to fix the old machine and sell it on, what's the bid? Municipal. Maybe there's another township out there would have paid $55,000, $60,000 for this fixed machine. We don't know that. But the fact of the matter is, everyone wanted to pose it as though, it's either spend $130,000 or $2,000, and trying to drive Mike down like he's the bad guy. Maybe he shouldn't have been going after the new piece of equipment for the township. That's why I agreed with you to let's get reasonable bids to fix the one we have and see where we fare out.
You're forgetting something.
But to demonize him,
I'm not demonizing Mike. What I'm trying-
when he wanted to get the machine fixed in July, and if we would have done so, we could have determined then whether we wanted to get a new machine or not.
And then why didn't we have the laying out of the facts on both sides? Because Steve, you're not being truthful about this.
I'm being absolutely.
No, you're not.
What the hell do you mean I'm not being truthful? I'm being damn truthful. You're the one that sits up there and spews lies out there.
Hey,
You said $2,000, that's all it was a baffling exhaust.
No.
These gentlemen here remember that. You remember that.
Steve,
it's on tape. We can show.
Yeah, bring the tape back up.
What he said was,
This is why I said.
what he said was that.
$44,000 engine replacement.
That was
Hold it, stop. This is out of hand. Come
The
on.
baffle was with respect to.
Don't accuse me of being not
truthful. I know.
Yes,
The baffle comment was with respect to the piston boys in the engine.
Fred, just sit down.
Oh, there's no.
No, because Steve, the rattle that was claimed in the motor with the $37,000 repair was claimed to be the number 5 cylinder.
I know, I heard the number 5 cylinder, that was false.
But the estimate, right, but the estimate for 2,100 also included repairing leaks. It wasn't just a baffle.
Well, then why didn't
All right, I think you people had enough. It's been going on for how many months?
Hey, man.
I know, and that's why I said I didn't want to inflame the situation, but it just seems...
It's time to end it. End the meeting, period. Bunch of children.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. I'll second the motion. Good night, everybody.
I'll sign Jesse.